For the longest time, we've all kind of held on to this idea that creativity, well, that's our thing. That's the one human spark that machines could never, ever replicate. It's messy, it's unpredictable, it's us. But what if the line is starting to blur? Today, we're going to unpack a really fascinating and honestly paradoxical new reality where technology and art are colliding. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off and ask the big question right up front. Is an AI more creative than you? I mean, it's a question that feels a little personal, maybe even a little threatening, right? But here's the thing, this isn't just some late-night dorm room debate anymore. Thanks to some seriously groundbreaking new research, we actually have an answer. And the answer is, well, it's complicated. A huge new study just dropped that says, yeah, an AI probably is more creative than the average person. But it also says a big, fat, definitive no. And that yes and no, that paradox, is exactly what we're going to get into. Now, this isn't just some random opinion piece. We're talking about the biggest scientific showdown on creativity ever. It was just published in scientific reports by researchers from top-tier places like the Université de Montréal, and get this, it even includes AI pioneer Yoshua Bengio. They basically set up a creative battle royale between today's top AIs and a massive group of humans. And when I say massive, I mean it. This scale here is just wild. We're talking 100,000 human participants. That's not a small focus group. That's like the population of a small city. This gives their findings some serious, serious weight. And they put all these human results up against the big names, GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, the whole gang. So you might be wondering, how on earth do you put a number on creativity? It seems so subjective. Well, if you're going to compare a person to a large language model, you need some kind of standardized, objective test. You need a yardstick for imagination. And that yardstick has a name, the Divergent Association Task, or DAT for short. The key idea here is something called divergent thinking. Now, this isn't about finding the one correct answer, like on a math test. It's the exact opposite. It's about how many unique and different ideas you can come up with. So here's how it actually works. The test gives you a simple prompt. List 10 words that are as different from each other as you can possibly imagine. Then, a smart algorithm measures what's called the semantic distance between them, basically how unrelated they are. So a really creative response might look something like this. Galaxy, fork, freedom, algae, harmonica. You can see there's pretty much zero connection between those words, which in this test is exactly what scores you points. Okay, so the stage is set. We've got 100,000 humans, the world's best AIs, and one clear way to measure creativity. And the results from this first half of the story, they are genuinely stunning. It turns out we have a surprising new champion when it comes to average creativity. And here it is. This is the big headline finding from the study. For the very first time, a large language model, GPT-4 to be specific, officially scored higher than the average human participant. Just let that sink in for a second. On a standardized scientific test for creative thinking, the machine beat the typical person. But how? Is the AI actually feeling inspired? Well, no, not really. For an AI, creativity isn't some magical trait. It's more like a knob you can turn up or down. Engineers can adjust a setting called temperature. The more you crank up the temperature, the more random and unpredictable the AI's word choices become. So it's not inspiration in the human sense. It's a cold, calculated process the researchers call stochastic exploration, just exploring possibilities based on pure probability. But hold on, because that is only half the story. Beating the average is one thing. But competing with the most creative people among us, that's a whole different ballgame. And this brings us to the other, deeply human side of this paradox. Just look at this chart. It tells you everything you need to know. While GPT-4 did squeak past the average human score, when you put it up against the top 10% of human creators, wow, it is not even close. There is a massive, massive gap. The most creative humans are just playing on a completely different level that AI, right now, simply cannot touch. And here's why. We're looking at two totally different ways of getting to a creative idea. The AI finds new things through random chance and probability. It doesn't have lived experiences, it doesn't get social cues, and it has no real concept of value. Peak human creativity, though, It's built on all of that stuff. It's our memories, our heartbreaks, our understanding of culture that allows us to create something that's not just new, but that actually matters to other people. It's about creating something with value that really resonates. Okay, so AI is good enough for average creative tasks, but it can't reach that human peak. What does this actually mean for the future? For artists, for writers, for anyone in a creative job? Let's break down what this paradox means for all of us. So the outlook is, well, it's nuanced. Let's be real, some jobs that involve more routine creative work, think basic ad copy or formulaic press releases, yeah, those are probably at risk. But the study is super clear. This is not a total replacement. The most demanding, highest level creative roles are safe, at least for now. The real story isn't about replacement, it's about collaboration. This thing is becoming an unbelievably powerful creative assistant, a tool that can boost our own ideas and push us to focus on the really deep, meaningful stuff that only a human can do. And the study's lead researcher, Professor Kareem Jerby, he just sums it up perfectly. He says, generative AI will not replace creators, but profoundly transform how they imagine, explore, and create. See? It's all about transformation, not termination. So at the end of the day, what this research really does is force us to change the question. Maybe the whole human versus machine debate was the wrong way to look at it all along. Maybe the real question we should be asking ourselves now is this: what are you going to build with your new creative partner?